What's good, internet? Jake here, dumb as ever, and lately I have been obsessed with Digimon. Probably because of the super cool new game that came out recently, Digimon Time Stranger. I played the demo and man, it's sick. But for me personally, $70 is way too much for one video game. So I've been playing the older game Digimon Cyber Sleuth, and I've also been watching the Digimon Try movies. So I've got a pretty bad case of Digibrain rot lately, and this video is basically a culmination of this recent obsession. I've always thought the digivolving aspect of Digimon is the most interesting part. It's the thing I get most hyped for whenever I watch a series, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I also really love that the Digimon revert to their cute earlier forms after digivolving, because as much as I love badass designs, I equally love the adorable monster designs. Demi-Vmon is so cute it physically hurts to look at him, much like the like and subscribe button. They look so cute, maybe you should click them. I think digivolving in general is really interesting, because it's really not as clear cut as it is in the shows. For example, while Agumon always digivolves into Greymon in the show, in reality he has the ability to digivolve into at least 8 different Digimon, which I think is kind of interesting. And to know why that is, we actually have to look at the history of Digimon. In 1996, the digital pet craze popped off with Tamagotchi, and Digimon was created out of a desire to make a boys version of that popular toy. On the Digimon V-Pets, you can feed them, train them, and make them battle. And just like other media, they will eventually evolve into different monsters. But what they evolve into is actually based on how you treat them. If you feed them and train them properly, your Digimon will digivolve into a stronger monster. But if you treat your Digimon poorly by overworking them and not cleaning up their poop, they will still digivolve but into a weak monster. And that monster is usually Numamon, a disgusting mollusk creature that I freaking hate. He's almost cute, but the visible gums are concerning, and his eye stalks are so gross and wrinkly. Combined with his bloodshot eyes, he might be my most hated Digimon, if Sukamon, the evolution of Numamon, didn't exist. This MFer is a living poop emoji, with straps all up his arthritis-ridden arms. Sukamon also has a little pink rat Digimon on his back. He's called Chumon, and Jesus, this guy looks like he's addicted to meth. Truly a match made in heaven. So yeah, the idea that Agumon can digivolve into the poop guy is pretty wild, but it's also part of what makes Digimon so freaking fun. And while the show doesn't always cover branching digivolutions, sometimes it does. The most famous example has to be when Greymon digivolved into Skull Greymon. In episode 16 of Digimon Adventure, Tai and the rest of the Digidestin are on the run from Edamon, a powerful Digimon chasing them down using a huge network of wires throughout Server Island. Tai has just found the Crest of Courage, which should let him digivolve Greymon into his ultimate form, and Tai is pushing Agumon hard, trying to make sure he's filled up with food and mentally putting a lot on Agumon to digivolve, because due to their current situation, they really need an ultimate level Digimon on their side. The kids are caught in one of Edamon's traps, with only Agumon managing to stay free, and when Edamon sends out a different, mind-controlled Greymon, it becomes a Greymon v Greymon battle. Tai pushes Greymon to digivolve throughout the battle, and it soon becomes clear that Tai overfed Agumon, so Greymon can't even use his Nova Blast attack, and the other Greymon is absolutely wrecking him as a result. Tai escapes the trap and puts himself in danger, finally prompting Greymon to digivolve. But something is wrong, and even the digivolving sequence seems ominous. Instead of Greymon's normal ultimate form, Skull Greymon is revealed, a mindless beast who destroys everything it sees. He almost steps on Tai, and the other champion Digimon try to fight him, but they can't hurt him at all. He breaks out of the Coliseum and suddenly runs out of energy, digivolving back into his baby form, Koromon. Tai immediately realizes the Dark Digivolution was his fault and apologizes, learning a valuable lesson about how pushing his Digimon can go wrong, which directly reflects the gameplay of the original V-Pet. I love this episode, and while Tai seems pretty different from usual, he's under immense pressure to save everyone with Greymon, and stress also tends to make me a worse person, so I actually think it's great writing. This isn't the only episode of Digimon that covers Dark Digivolutions. A lot of series and movies after Adventure also have situations like this, but Dark Digivolution is far from the only unique Digivolution in the franchise. We also had the iconic Warp Digivolve, where Agumon or Gabumon can digivolve directly from rookie to mega forms. I had a VHS tape with some of the later episodes of Adventure, and the episodes featured the first instance of warp digivolving. Venom Myotismon, a mega level Digimon, is attacking Earth, and the Digidestined need to follow a prophecy to defeat him, which unfortunately involves Angemon and Angewomon shooting Tai and Matt with magical arrows. Thankfully, the prophecy is true, and Agumon and Gabumon instantly warp digivolve. I thought it was so freaking cool. I love the 3D models that were used for all of their levels. The animators just knew how to cook up these badass digivolution sequences. And this was also the first appearance of Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon, so it was even more exciting. And speaking of those two, we can't forget the first combined evolution in Digimon The Movie. Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon are able to combine with the support of children all over the world, and they both digivolve into the wildly powerful Omnimon. This is the first instance of what would later be named DNA Digivolution, which was an important part of Digimon Adventure 02. For example, Stingmon and XVmon can combine into Paledramon. Side note, Stingmon and XVmon are both on my list of favorite Digimon. I have a long ass list, and I just keep adding to it, because I legit cannot pick a favorite to save my life. Dino Beamon, an alternate mutated version of Stingmon and XVmon's combined form, is also one of my favorites. Another alternate Digivolution in Season 2 was Armored Digivolution. In the show, the second generation of Digidestined are unable to digivolve their partners due to the Digimon Emperor's control spires, but with the power of the Digi-Eggs, they are able to do an Armored Digivolution, which is essentially like a side grade to the champion level. Even a couple of OG Digimon, Patamon and Gatomon, get Digi-Eggs. And in Digimon the Movie, we also got to see the Golden Digi-Eggs, powerful artifacts that are summoned by Seraphimon and Magnadramon, and are used by Davis and Willis to digivolve Vmon and Terriermon into Magnamon and Rapidmon, who are then able to destroy Kirpimon from within, defeating the virus-infected Digimon. This was a super lit movie from my childhood, and even though the back half of the movie is weak, the final part is so cool to me. And now as I'm older, Indigomon pleading for them to destroy him actually makes me sad. This movie is interesting for a lot of reasons, but one of the most interesting parts to me is that Terriermon, Gargomon, and Rapidmon are all introduced in this movie, and then he would later be a main Digimon in Season 3, which is called Digimon Tamers. I was actually so happy about this. Like I said, I don't have a definitive favorite Digimon, but Gargomon is top 3 for sure. And in Digimon Tamers, Terriermon's arc with his tamer Henry is really good, because Henry is actually terrified of his Digimon digivolving. Henry's relationship develops with Terriermon via the in-universe Digimon video game, and it's a good thing that the Digimon turn out to be real, because this dude grows such an attachment to his digital monster that he quite literally has a breakdown when Terriermon digivolves, and his personality as Gargomon is more prone to violence and fighting. When Terriermon is hurt in the game, the blue card appears, and lets Henry bring Terriermon into the real world. Side note, a Digimon game that has a little card reader to upgrade your mons would be so fire in real life. But anyway, when Henry gets Terriermon, he promises to never make him fight again, and he tells Terriermon he isn't allowed to digivolve. Meanwhile, Rika, a tamer obsessed with making her Digimon battle, keeps picking fights with Takato and Guilmon. Henry shows up to one of these fights, and Terriermon is almost caught in the crossfire while trying to play with Guilmon. Henry's digivice activates automatically when he sees Terriermon in danger, and the monster digivolves into Gargomon. Digivolving is interesting in Tamers. While it's a sign of power and growth in the first 2 seasons, in Tamers it almost looks painful for the Digimon to experience. Their skin is literally ripped off their bodies, with their new form regrowing in its place. Even Gargomon's expression looks pained. After digivolving, Gargomon cannot control himself, just like in the video game, and it was a shocking scene to watch as a kid. Gargomon destroys cars and aimlessly blasts everywhere, laughing maniacally the entire time. It's certainly a different vibe than the original show's heroic digivolutions, and shows that these Digimon are properly dangerous. I love this sequence because while it's still about digivolving and gaining more power, the tone is completely different, and the difference between Henry's pacifism and Rika's hunger for battle raises interesting moral questions. Of course, Digimon Tamers did also introduce a whole new way to digivolve, called biomerge digivolution, where the human tamer and their rookie Digimon digivolve into a mega level Digimon. For example, Takato merges with Guilmon to digivolve into Gallantmon. I have to admit, even as a kid, I thought it was weird that they look naked when they digivolve. Not saying it's evil or anything, it's art, and sometimes art is uncomfortable, but yeah, I always thought it was a weird choice for a kid's show. And this concept was actually greatly expanded in Digimon Frontiers, the 4th season of Digimon, which completely mixed up the formula. Instead of kids and their Digimon partners, the main kids turn into Digimon themselves, through the power of spirit evolution. For some reason, they dropped the term digivolve this season. And did you know that digivolve is an English-only term? In the original Japanese version, they just say shinka, which just means evolution. I have to admit, Digimon Frontiers is where I fell off as a kid. I love the partner dynamic of the other seasons, and without partners, the show just felt like Power Rangers to me, which is a show I generally did not like as a kid. Now, as an adult, I might check it out again at some point, because these days I'm a Kamen Rider and Super Sentai fan, and I kinda get the transformations and turning into a super powered hero more, and the digivolutions in this show are really cool. The main characters literally turn into Data and have armor pressed against their body. Just like in Digimon Tamers, evolution seems painful, especially their beast spirit evolutions. They look like their bodies are being overloaded with power, and are turned into proper digital monsters. They could also combine their beast and warrior spirits into new forms. And towards the end of the show, the main characters could all combine to form Susanomon. So the digivolutions or evolutions in this show are just completely different. There was a bit of a break for Digimon in the West after Frontiers, and a couple years later, Digimon Data Squad was released. I've never seen any of Data Squad, but I am really interested. It looks more mature than other series, and the only thing I really know is that the main character deadass just punches Digimon. I love the alternate version of Agumon who wears red straps on his arms in this universe, and he also has alternate digivolutions from the Agumon we knew previously, including his mega form called Shine Greymon, which not only looks awesome, but has a special digivolution called Burst Mode, which slightly changes the Digimon, mostly upgrading their current form. After that, there was another long break until Digimon Fusion, which again flipped the concept of Digimon on its head. This time, instead of digivolving, Digimon combine with a power called digifuse. Shoutmon, the main Digimon partner of the series, can combine with multiple other Digimon. I was kind of interested in it when I first heard about it, but again, I didn't like the change of formula. And for some reason, the digifuse mechanic was not interesting to me at all. But some designs are cool. I love the digifuse version of Metal Greymon, which is blue like the one from Digimon World. The most recent completed Digimon series, Ghost Game, introduced Gamamon, who routinely digivolves into alternate champion forms. He has 3 main champion forms, as well as a dark digivolution form. I think they made this choice because the show was tied to the Vital Bracelet digivice, which is kind of like a Fitbit with Digimon on it, so the VPET gameplay actually ties into the show, because just like the VPET, Gamamon digivolves into different forms based on situation, though his ultimate and mega levels are always the same. A brand new Digimon show also literally came out last week. It's called Digimon BeatBreak, and I really enjoyed the first episode. So far, the digivolutions seem fairly normal, but I'm curious to see if we'll see anything unique in the series. If you're curious and you want to know a bit more about the series before subscribing to Crunchyroll or Hulu, I talked about episode 1 of BeatBreak on my second channel, linked in the description. So yeah, digivolving is really weird, but it's always been that way, which is pretty cool. I kind of love how flexible the concept is, and even though I don't like every change, I'm glad the series is allowed to be creative and reinvent itself so often. I would love to see a Digimon show where the Digimon evolve into different forms a bunch. Like if Agumon is sick and he has to digivolve and he turns into a Numamon instead of a Greymon. That would be so fun in my opinion. But before we close out the video, I do usually talk about toys on this channel, and there are plenty of Digimon toys that actually digivolve. I did discuss these toys in Transformers that are not Transformers Volume 1, but I left a lot on the table, and I think Digimon toys demand more of my attention. So I will be working on a sequel to this video discussing Digimon toys. So if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. This video is kind of me working through a really strong hyperfixation on the franchise right now, and for the first time in a while, it felt really nice to write a script. If you want to support me past liking and subscribing, I have a YouTube membership and Patreon. For $1 a month, both give you the same thing. Access to my super chill Discord server, where we talk about toys daily, watch Toku weekly, and movies monthly. By the way, when we watch Tokusatsu weekly, we're also watching Digimon BeatBreak. And being a member or patron also also gets you weekly exclusive videos called Toy Dives, where I take a look at a random toy line, like Tech Deck Dudes, those weird little guys that invaded toy shelves in the 2000s. Alright y'all, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions. Change into digital champions to save the digital world. Digimon, digital monsters, Digimon are the champions.